Thank you all for joining us this morning virtually. Maybe someday we'll get back to in person, but this is just as good, I hope. And of course, thanks to T and JJ and Gordon, and also Greg, who's going to join us this morning, for taking their time out to speak to everybody, and of course to all of you for joining us this morning. And I'm going to mute everyone, and I'll turn it over to you, T.
All right. Well, thank you all. Well, let me make sure Gina's better. Okay. Thank you all for joining us this morning. I didn't think we'd be doing multiple video town halls, but we're in a situation where we are. Right now, I'll just give you our status. The office is closed to the public. We do have some people coming in and working. Others are working from home, and we're really limiting anywhere we can. We're limiting contact, and we're using our social distancing. I know there's a lot of arguments on a lot of sides, but right now I like to think of us, we build homes, community, and hope. And we're still building homes, and I'll get to that in a minute, but one of the ways that we're working as an organization to build community and to build hope is to really follow the CDC guidelines and other guidelines that we have, and social distance and stay home so that we aren't part of a bigger problem, which is spreading the COVID-19 virus. And so as difficult as that is, and as big of a impact as it is or could be on our mission, we're really trying to pivot as quickly as we can to address the needs of the community and still be really good community partners. And I know that's really frustrating to a lot of people. Earlier this week, HFHI, Habitat for Humanity International, came out with some very clear COVID guidelines. And we've read through those. I know Gordon and JJ and Charlie and I have all kind of looked through them. I was really excited to know that we are already following almost to the T everything that they're requesting. They're asking that we not have any corporate builds, any large builds, and if we do, there's some specific requirements involved in that. They're okaying the limited use of volunteers and what we call your regulars, Leland's Army and our regulars that are out, all fall under that category. Some affiliates call them house leads or team leaders, but Habitat International is defining that as a volunteer who would regularly work more than 8 hours a month with us. So those people that are out and know the site and are familiar enough to be able to help distance and keep the safety and need less staff supervision, and that way we're limiting contact. We followed all of the guidelines at the Habit Store, and I'm happy to say, and Gordon will talk about it, the Habit Store is doing really well, but we are on limited hours. We do have a lot of extra cleaning and a lot of precautions we're taking, and masks are required, of course, everywhere here in Tucson. But we've been requiring masks since we reopened on a limited basis. We're requiring the masks at the sites. We did close 6 houses at the end of June. There are only a few houses left at Minton Court to close, and we should be out of Minton Court by the end of September at the very latest, and then moving on to Carter's Court. We're working on, and we've come to a negotiated agreement to buy some land in Marana, and we'll have another 10 to 12 houses under construction there for next year. And we're really looking at those timetables and how the town of Marana is going to help us to build. We have other site-ready places to build if that doesn't come through on time. They're a little delayed in Marana getting the ordinances and things to us or passed for us because they're dealing with the COVID virus. It seems like today everything takes a little bit longer. It's harder to come by subcontractors. It's harder to get things done through city, state, or many of our sponsors' offices because people are adjusting to this new working from home or other things. So I'm happy to say, and I was on a call with the same size Habitat affiliates from across the country, over 200 people yesterday, that we're really in good shape compared to many others. We had some money in the bank. We have our homeowner services team calling every single person we have a mortgage with. We had several very generous donors, starting with the Tucson foundations. They gave us $50,000 to help cover mortgage payments for our homeowners that are affected by COVID-19. That's really a generous offer. The United Way also had funds. So we've spent the United Way funds, about $25,000 in supporting our existing Habitat families. We have the $50,000 left. Stonewall Foundation gave us some money as well. And we applied for the Small Business Administration's PPP loan program, and we did receive a loan for about $275,000, just short of $275,000. And we're pretty confident that most of that will be forgiven as a grant, but you know, we're being cautious about that. So all in all, I have three really critical goals. One is that we maintain safety to the best of our ability, and I think we're working hard to do that. And I'm happy to see out on the site or in the store volunteers and staff reminding one another, reminding the people that we work with about distancing and all the safety rules. So thank you all for that. It's really a cultural shift for us, and I think people are doing a really amazing job at stepping up. Two, we want to keep our mission. Well, we want to keep our mission moving forward any way we can. And so that may mean higher use of subcontractors right now. And that's where those dollars that come in, $50,000 from the Stonewall Foundation, unrestricted, that's allowing us to hire some subcontractors and get some work done. This epidemic has shown us more than ever before how critical the need for safety and housing is for everyone. So, you know, we've got to just move our mission forward the best we can to get more families into houses faster. And at a time where we have less resources, less availability of volunteers, and everyone's really stretched as far as donors go, because, you know, businesses are closing left and right, and things are happening. But here in Tucson, people are really stepping up. And like I said, we've gotten some amazing gifts. What's wonderful is in two of those cases, the Tucson Foundations and the Stonewall Foundation, they came to us and said, what do you need? We'd like to give you, and each gave us $50,000. So that was really, it's really helping. We're using the PPP money to really mitigate the lost revenue from the store. Many of you may know the store generates about a third of our revenue. So we get a third from mortgages, a third from donations, and a third from the store. So when the store is closed and donations are down and our home buyers and existing homeowners aren't able to make their mortgage payments, it puts us in a little bit of a situation. We're diversified, but we're diversified in an economy that's taking hits everywhere. With all that said, I'm happy to say the status of our organization is good. We have, you know, we have money to operate. We have money to move forward on our next builds. Donors are continuing to be generous, and our regular volunteers are coming out and providing the skilled labor that we need alongside the contractors. So I thank you all for that very much. We're really worried about our families, and, you know, so we're doing regular check-ins with our families, both those waiting to get houses and those who are already, we have mortgages with. So we're just doing our best to pivot day by day, and I can't share my appreciation enough with those of you who are coming out and helping under these circumstances. And for those of you that can't, you know, several people on the call I've gotten little notes or cards from, or encouragement to the staff, and that's really appreciated. We know you're with us in spirit, even if you can't be with us volunteering. I can't see, Jean, if we have any questions.
A question from Kathy Nelson. Do we need any contractors, and would a contractor get in touch with JJ?
Yeah, they would, absolutely. JJ put his email
I
up.
see it.
Yeah, so we'll coordinate that. We're having a hard time getting folks, and even some of the people we work with on a regular basis are having a hard time keeping staff because of the illness and other factors that are happening. So absolutely, any assistance we can get, we're open to.
That's the only question so far.
That's easy.
All right.
Okay.
If you're finished tea, then I'm going to turn it over to Gordon. And I've asked you to unmute yourself, Gordon.
And I am unmuted.
Awesome.
Thank you all for showing up this morning. So the store was closed from March 18th to May 11th, which was 55 days. And had we not been closed for those 55 days, we would have broken every record the store's ever made. It still wound up being a very good year. And one thing this whole thing has taught me, a lot of you have always, when I get on and start talking about the store, I start giving you numbers and how we're breaking records and how much money we're making. And I have, since this event has happened, I have kind of changed gears a lot. I have thought, you know, that it's my main goal is not to make as much money as possible. It is to keep my staff and our volunteers safe. And that is more critical in my mind as my goal than making a ton of money. I mean, of course, we still want to support the mission, and my feeling is that when the store is down and not making any money and not contributing, that's the problem. Anytime we are able to contribute, no matter what the amount is, that's the important thing. And again, the safety of staff and volunteers is critical as well. So we've kind of changed gears a little bit at the store, but surprisingly, the numbers are still pretty good. When we did reopen, we did open 6 days a week, and they had left Sundays out. And then when it was pretty clear to us that COVID was not going to go away quickly, and that things were going to be more of an issue, and we were kind of struggling with trying to keep the store staffed, we broke down, and we are now open from Tuesday through Saturday, which actually I think has worked out very well. And it seems as though our regular clientele, and even all of our clientele, has kind of adjusted to our new hours, and we're doing more business per day than we used to, and we're getting, you know, we're still doing very well. I'm very happy with that. And things couldn't be working the way they are working without the volunteer help we have. And I would also just like to say, because I know he's on this call, that Herb Ross, we miss you. We can't wait for you to come back. That art wall needs you badly. So it is being taken care of, but not to the degree that you take care of it. So we can't wait to have you back when we can have you back. And all the other volunteers that are on, I saw Karen earlier, and Ron, and I just want to thank you all. We wouldn't be able to do what we're doing at the store without the volunteer help. There's a lot of times where staff, first thing they do when they get in the morning is see what volunteers are on the board, because either somebody on staff is sick or we've got something going on, and if we don't have our volunteers, we're in for a world of hurt that day. So thank you all very much for everything you do for us. That's it from me.
All right. Thanks, Gordon. I don't see any questions from anyone to you, for you. So I'm going to pass it on to JJ.
Hi, everybody. First, I want to start off by saying we miss you guys very, very much. I miss the feel of going out to the site, and seeing all the friendly faces and everybody chatting and you know, the closeness that we all had as volunteer staff. It didn't really matter which walk of life you came from. Everybody was together, and I miss that. I miss the social interaction. I don't think you realize how important it is to your, you know, your mental health, your daily life, until it's taken from you. And so I definitely miss that. I am not a big fan, although I'm a tech nerd. I do not enjoy the Zoom meetings and all that. There's no personal interaction. It's much like email, where you can't read somebody's body language and tempo for the day to really talk to people. I miss that interaction. I can't wait till we can get back on site and start kicking butt again. As far as the construction goes, as my background, I feel like we are on Mars. We're on a different planet. We are working and doing the best that we can with the resources that we do have. Running down subcontractors and getting quality labor is definitely difficult. I know many of you watch the news and kind of see what's going on with the construction industry. It is crazy right now. Housing is at one of the, you know, it's at the peak of the market right now. And it's making it very difficult for an organization like Habitat to source materials, get subcontractors out. But we are doing the best we can. We always keep our families first, both for staff and for our families that we serve. So we try to make our decisions daily based on that. So moving forward, we do have Minton Court. T gave a great summary of what's going on over there. We have 3 houses left to close, and we're working quickly. It's pretty amazing what we can get done with the short resources that we do have. Our staff is definitely getting a better feel for what our volunteers do for us every single day. We were joking about it the other day of how long it took just the staff to get something done. We were physically working on it ourselves with our own, you know, with our hands and our tools. We were joking that, wow, it sure would be nice to have our, you know, our anthill of volunteers really knocking this out for us. And we were really just burned out by the end of the day. And so, you know, it's another kind of reminder of how hard our volunteers work, and that we work 365 days a year through the heat, through all elements, and we get a lot done. So Carter's Court, going crazy out there. We've got quite a few subs out there. We have successfully pulled all of our permits. So now all 19 lots at Carter's Court are moving. We have secured our permit for 901 East 24th, which will be our first kind of go round at we had called it rapid deployment, or smaller house, or miniature house, or reasonably fast house, or whatever we call it these days. But it is moving at 901 East 24th. We will pour concrete next week. We had to block one side of the street of Park Avenue. And for those of you that have not dealt with TDOT or the Tucson Department of Transportation, in closing a street so that we can get a pump truck to swing concrete through power lines and over a block wall to pump a slab. Now is probably the best time to do that because there's not much traffic on the road. But we will be doing that. And like T had said, working on securing the property in Marana. We have to go through a replat and some engineering out there, as well as split one lot that we currently own into 2 houses. So we'll have hopefully 12 houses or so going out there soon. That's kind of an update on construction. Home repair, you know, just keeping my staff and the family safe, making sure that they're fully suited up. They're going in with boots, boot covers, gloves, masks, and everything, but we are starting to revisit our home repair families. And I think that is very important because those families are in need. The heat has really gotten to some of the families, and when you're saying shelter in place and the best idea is to stay home, that's very difficult for some of our home repair families when their home is a lot less. It's more unsafe to be at home than it is out in the world. Some of these houses have roofs falling in. We're getting lots of phone calls with the water leaking and roofs caving in and mold issues and HVAC not working. And we've had a couple people with power issues where their power's been locked out because of violations that they have with overpowering their service. There's still a lot of 100 amp services in town. So we have a lot of our elderly population right now sitting in homes with this humidity and the heat with no air conditioning. And so I'm fielding those phone calls almost every single day, and it's really heartbreaking. We're trying to get to them as fast as we can. We have 497 people on our waiting list for home repair. And so we're trying to get through that list and try to get to those priority needs as fast as possible. So that's kind of where we're at. A Brush with Kindness. We've spent a lot of time kind of going into neighborhoods and helping clean up. I know I've received a couple phone calls with the rain that we got yesterday. For those of you that live in kind of Midtown, a lot of flooding. Unfortunately, we had some houses that got flooded. I've had a couple phone calls for that. A house right by Minton Court, a lady, she's in her 80s. She had come over to ask us for some sandbags because she was sweeping water out of her house. It was starting to come in her house. So we did give her what we had, but I did put her in touch with my Brush with Kindness program so that maybe we can do some reshaping of the landscape to hopefully divert some of the water around her house. So those are some of the things we're dealing with in construction, again, with limited resources as far as bodies. We don't have too many people. I know Gina has been out trying to recruit. We definitely can't overpopulate the site, but we could definitely use some hands. If you're not in the high risk category and you're comfortable coming out and working all day in a mask, because we do wear masks all day on site. So that's what I've got. I wish it was more positive. I wish I was getting to deliver a message in person, but we look at kind of the, the glass half full is the fact that we're still moving and we're still serving our families and we're still knocking out our mission. And we're not just completely closed down like some other affiliates. So I can't thank my staff enough for all the hard work that they've done. They have not taken a single day since this started back in February. Their boots have been on the ground every single day. And that takes a lot of heart and a lot of risk, but they're doing it knowing that our families come first and our volunteers. We have just such an amazing group of dedicated regulars. We've got some people that have just never missed a beat and have come out every day. So I hope everybody stays safe. And that's all I've got, Gina.
Thanks, JJ. I'm actually going to turn it over to Charlie. Charlie Buchanan has a few words to say. Charlie, can you unmute yourself?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. Just a few updates. Many of you may be wondering how our homeowners have been doing throughout this. T mentioned on all the relief that has become available through the donations in the community. But on the home buying side, our HOS team has really been gearing up for virtual delivery of our home buyer education classes. Art has spent quite a amount of time in developing a digital classroom. We're launching our first digital, fully virtual class on August 8th for new home buyers. It will be their first class in their home buyer education. So we're really excited. And looking ahead down the road a few months, we're also looking at virtual info sessions, application, and intake process for those people that are interested in joining the program. We do currently have our application closed. We have a full cohort. All the Carter's Court homes are already, we have alternates and all the home buyers that we need for those. So we decided to pause for a little bit, and then we'll be reopening in the next few months the new application, looking ahead for the builds beyond Carter's Court. So a lot of kudos to the team in looking at alternative ways to deliver those and still work with our home buyers. As far as sweat equity, our home buyers are out working the job site. They've been at the store earning sweat equity, and the team in HOS has really been flexible as they've encountered changes in jobs and job loss, and how might that affect their eligibility for down payment assistance. And so all the closings have, I wouldn't say they've gone smoothly, but they've gone successfully, and we've really worked diligently to make sure that they can achieve their home ownership that they've earned. So we'll continue to do that. Outside of that, we put a lot of time in all the standard operating procedures on how we keep our volunteers and employees safe in line with CDC guidance, and many thanks to JJ and Gordon and T and Randy and the time spent just to make sure that not only we're preventing exposure, but inevitably, if it does pop up, that we're following the guidance to prevent it from further occurring within the organization. So, and then also thanks to the volunteers, not only at the job site and the store, but we've had several raise their hand for administrative support, and a volunteer checking voicemails and sending them to the necessary staff, volunteers supporting with mailings. We had some volunteers raise their hands this week for phone calls to our home repair wait list at J2J reference. So we really appreciate how volunteers are helping us shape and move forward in this different time. So thank you.
Thanks, Charlie. I'm gonna now turn it over to Greg, who's our donor relations manager, and he's in the philanthropy department. He's just gonna give everyone a little update. I think you're muted, Greg.
Okay, that's better. Again, I'd just like to say thank you to all the volunteers. The COVID crisis has highlighted the need for safe and affordable housing now more than ever. As T had mentioned, the Tucson Foundation and United Way of Tucson and Southern Arizona reached out to Habitat. They've helped provide emergency mortgage assistance for our homeowners. The Stonewall Foundation, Community Foundation of Southern Arizona, and over 150 generous donors have given nearly $185,000 to make sure Habitat can continue our mission during this time. In the past 4 months, 6 families have moved into Minton Court. We've produced virtual dedications in lieu of live dedication events. If you miss them, the links are still live on our website. So we're also sending out email invitations as well. So please feel free to view them if you missed them. Speaking of virtual events, World Habitat Day is becoming World Habitat Week this year. It's October 5th through 9th. The theme this year is Home is Everything. It's your house, your places of work and worship, your school. Home is the place to shelter. So we're going to continue to raise the awareness for safe and affordable housing. This event's going to offer virtual format to connect with the volunteers and community. We hope that we will have volunteers on site at Carter's Court. However, our usual 350 participants will be spread throughout that week. This way we can safely social distance, and so we've taken into account the safety and health of our volunteers and our employees. More information is to come on that, but again, the dates are October 5th through 9th. We've completed a veteran home repair project in Green Valley. Our veteran, Ricardo, lives alone with his dog and has vision issues. His dog helps him get around. He's a friendly guy and a fantastic cook. He shared some wonderful ribs that he made, and even made some of our construction team and volunteers a batch of homemade barbecue sauce. Our home repair supervisor, Richard Hoffman, said that our goals were to decrease his electric bills and to make his home a safer place. Habitat replaced his single pane windows with double pane low E windows. We replaced a broken shower, and we replaced the carpeting, which was a trip hazard, with linoleum. And we made sure all the transitions to existing flooring are seamless as possible. The team also serviced Ricardo's HVAC system and installed 2 ramps for him, one at his front door and one at the carport. And then finally, to top it all off, the Veterans Committee came out and gave Ricardo a brush with kindness. We really appreciate all that you do, and now you guys are going to be doing even more. The printing and postage costs to send volunteers a newsletter amount to more than $3,000 a year. So in order to redirect this money to other funds to further our mission, we are in the early stages of going paperless as far as our newsletters go. All volunteers will receive email copies of our newsletters, which are published 3 times a year. Of course, if you'd still like to have a hard copy of your newsletter, those will be available, and I'll post my email address if you want to contact me. Also, be sure that Gina has all your contact information up to date, so you continue to get all our mailings and publications. And finally, I just want to say a big thank you for all you do. The shutdown has really opened my eyes as to what, you know, how much we depend on our volunteers for our services. And again, I can't appreciate enough what you do for our organization. And that's all I have.
Thanks, Greg.
You bet.
If anybody doesn't have anything else to add, T or Gordon or JJ or Charlie, I was just gonna close this out with, of course, another thank you to our volunteers and just a few quick updates. We will have another beloved intern starting with us on August 3rd. Her name is Madison Owen. I'll be sending out a little information about her with a picture so you all know who she is, but she will be interning with volunteer resources for the next about 10.5 months. So you'll see her at the Habit store, the construction site, in the office, you name it. So looking forward to meeting her. Excuse me. And then as you've heard, you know, we're a little low on volunteers. So if you know anybody, if you want to spread the word, we do need help in construction. Still looking for volunteers in the Habit store. And we do have, you know, at-home opportunities like Charlie had mentioned earlier about some volunteers that stepped up to help with admin duties or helping us make phone calls. So if anyone's up for that, or you know somebody that's looking for something to do, just contact me and spread the word. There's one more thing I was going to say. Oh, and then of course our also continuously looking for family partners to help mentor new families. So if you know anyone who's able to make a 12 to 18 month commitment, it's a wonderful opportunity to work alongside of our families and get them into a home. Everybody here should have a copy of their volunteer manual as well as volunteer job descriptions. So please feel free to share that with others. And then last thing, we did start doing volunteer orientations online. There's a self-paced where they can just do that, do a quiz, and then we get them started. And then of course there's a virtual where I'm speaking so in case they want to have someone they can talk to. And so we're slowly getting more volunteers in. It'll probably be that way for a little bit, but again, very thankful for those of you who are able to come out and spend your time safely alongside our staff. I know everyone's very thankful, as you've heard. So if anybody has any questions, feel free. We ended pretty early, so thanks everyone.
Yeah, Gina, I was going to reiterate. People can just raise their hand if they have a question.
Yeah. Raise your hand. And I'm trying to see all the people.
Dorothy looks like she has a question.
Oh.
No, not a question. I just want to thank you for all that you do and putting these updates for the various volunteers. I really appreciate it.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
All of you.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah, I am talking to you.
Yeah, this is great. I'm really pleased with how Habitat is able to communicate and very thankful to everyone, all of our staff that communicate with the volunteers. I think it's really important. So I thank them too. Anybody else? I'm sorry, I'm trying to look at my line of videos here. Or you can just unmute yourself if you want.
Hey, Dorothy, I saw a balloon behind your head. Is that a happy birthday?
Yes, I had another birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm still stunned at my age.
Happy
35
birthday.
is not that old, Dorothy.
Yeah. Happy birthday. Anybody
Well,
else?
again, thank you all. Thank you for taking the time. I think JJ said it well. We miss you. It feels like a ghost town. And we just miss, interacting. The wisdom that I get from all of you is lacking. So I just thank you so much for being on here, and please feel free to communicate.
Hey, I just wanted to say one of the volunteers, Cassandra, she said as a new partner volunteer, she's very impressed with this agency and all that we do. So thank you. Very nice comment. All right, I think that's it.
Okay.
So thanks, everyone. Have a
Bye,
great
everyone.
day.
Mhm.
Stay cool. Hope we get more rain. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.